Not picked Hunter.
Wait, but who do you
You
think?
picked Hunter. So when you picked Hunter,
Hunter didn't.
why did you pick? Did you pick Hunter as the winner?
Jerry Springer now?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're doing a thing where people change their votes. Okay, all right. That's unfair though, because the thing is that like the whole point of the voting system is we're supposed to not be.
Okay, you just said you wanted a revote, so that might revote.
No.
Well, Dylan left anyway.
I didn't. I
looks like it's not.
Okay, all
I
right.
just agree to it.
Yeah.
All right, this has not been fair. Like, I mean, I really don't like being the one to say it, but it is unfair. So I have to just say I just have to say the fucking truth. I haven't had an awkward situation like this online in years.
It is
all right, okay. I mean, I guess it's just out of my hands at this point, you know. But I stand by this. This is great.
Destiny agreed to have another match if you wanted one.
Right now?
I don't know if he said right now, but he said you want to have another match.
Ask him right now. Ask him if he'll do it right now.
Okay, you can't appreciate this because it's a 3-minute clip. Trust me, this whole thing was so unbelievably fucking cringe, okay? Oh my god.
I don't think that they, like...
Can you explain it? I have no clue what's going on. I don't even remember what was going on. I just remember it being insanely uncomfortable and cringe.
Paid for, or rather had everything paid for while they were out there. I think that they paid for their, like, tickets there and whatnot, but, like... They had a great deal of people who were showing them around.
I wish I might. No. Maybe. If... I'm too lazy. That's never happening. But, like, just to be super ultra clear, it's even worth saying, like, there is no evidence anywhere, ever, that has ever been presented, ever, that me and Lonerbox or anybody has ever been paid to go to Israel. It never happened. Nobody sent me money for any of this shit. The people literally have they just say it. And there's not even like an inkling of like, oh, what about when he talked about that bus that was sent by the Mossad? Like there's no reason to believe this other than just people have memed it as a thing. It's so cringe and stupid. Oh my god.
Someone says it's a paid trip. The obvious context is that you were paid to do like Israeli propaganda.
I mean, it was a propaganda trip. Like Israel is not going. And then that's really, I guess, what I have to say about it. I don't particularly I think that it is.
Oh my god.
Losing the forest for the trees to talk about whether or not it was a paid.
But that's what Hassan.
Losing the forest for the trees. I think Vadim is a bad person personally because he 2-year-olds. But if he was ever to push me on that claim, I mean, like, personally, it doesn't matter. I mean, well, let's not lose the forest for the trees, okay? Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But I mean, like, let's focus on the fact that he's a bad person. Like, excuse me, you, okay? With a 9-inch, oh god, the bat. Who kills the guy in the bat in The Walking Dead? That would have been better if I could remember, but I've never actually seen the show. I've just seen that scene, so. This guy with that bat. Negan's bat. Careful.
He accused him of being a paid Israeli propagandist. That's obviously what he's.
It was a propaganda trip. The reason they don't allow people to go in and like look at all the shit they have.
What do you mean they don't allow people? Like this is why I get irritated by people like Hassan and all these other dipshits that are pretending to do politics or research or whatever, but they're just doing like social clubs. You don't know anything about any of these countries. You retarded inbred fuck. What do you mean? Do you think they quiz you when you land at Tel Aviv and they're like, what is your purpose here to look at any part of the country that we don't want you to look? Like, what are you f***ing talking about? They don't allow you to. What does that even look like? Have you even left the United States? Well, he's probably Canadian, I guess. Like,
also,
That's a lie. That is a total fucking lie.
They were also like highly critical of people when they were there too.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't.
No, critical doesn't count unless you literally say Israel is committing a genocide against everybody and an apartheid against everybody, and every single Palestinian that rapes or murders or tortures or does anything bad to any Israeli is fully justified every single time, 100%.
They talked with this I think he's a rabbi. His name is Yishel.
Please tell me this is not election night, Vadim. Oh, that guy had the same name. No, this is not that one. This is a totally different one. Yishai Flesher. Yishai Flesher does do like pro-Israeli propaganda for sure. But like Mustafa Barghouti is a candidate in one of the parties in the PL. I don't remember. I don't remember. But like we talked to all sorts of other people. I talked to Ahmed Tibi, who's an Arab politician. Like, yeah, everybody's biased in Israel. Yes, everybody has their own agenda and their own propaganda. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. And I talked to a guy from Kogat who was responsible for Kogat is the thing that monitors stuff going in and out of the in and out of Gaza. We talked to a lady from Bet Salem who's propaganda for the far left. Like, I mean,
Fleischer. Maybe I'm fucking up his name, but you know he.
Wait, if Lonerbox is in the
He's
chat,
lying. He's lying.
Come-
He knows Yishai was mad at my fucking coverage of that trip. He knows.
but like,
Lonerbox does admit, like,
he could join the Discord.
He knows
and
full
clarify
fucking
here,
well.
but
He knows
Hassan
full fucking well.
accused him
He's
of being a
lying.
paid
He's lying.
propagandist.
I did not say he was a paid.
No, I said Hassan accused him of being a paid propagandist.
I don't think that it is out. Like he like I. First of all, if someone goes somewhere and they end up getting a lot of because there's no doubt that like both Lonerbox, Destiny to a lesser degree, but
When we were in the West Bank,
both
talking to fucking like
kind of,
people who
I'm
were suffering in the
sure,
checkpoints and
received
shit.
like a real boost in their
Come on. We're talking about you're jumping.
What was he saying? Was he a real what?
Lonerbox getting a lot of because there's no doubt that like both Lonerbox, Destiny to a lesser degree, but
When we were in the West Bank,
both
talking to fucking like
kind of,
people who were
I'm
suffering in the
sure,
checkpoints and
received
shit.
like a real boost in their
Come on.
You want to know the biggest argument? Me, actually. My own inability to produce structured content is the biggest argument against this being a propaganda trip. Imagine Israel pay somebody to do propaganda and never release the propaganda. What? This would be the worst propaganda of all time. Like, what?
But come on, we're talking about you're jumping through hoops to try to explain what Hassan said. What Hassan said, he was clearly saying that
It was a paid propaganda tour.
Lonerbox was paid
no
to go to
evidence.
Israel to do Asbar propaganda. And you're like, okay, I can explain it by taking this angle and that angle. That's a crazy thing to say. I mean, I feel like you should just be able to.
Crazy thing to
Yeah,
say.
it is, bro.
No,
that
it's
is.
not, because
It is a crazy thing to say. It's
why
so
is
fucking
it?
crazy.
Why? Like, do you think that there are not?
Because he didn't. He's not a paid propagandist. It's not true. That's
How do I
why
get
I think
in?
it's
Where's
bad.
the Discord?
Yeah,
Is there a Discord
but
link?
they would have paid them to go out there. They didn't take. This is my understanding. They did not take payment because they didn't want it to sort of like look like.
So they were paid to do propaganda by Israel, but they decided not to take payment and just do free propaganda? Why would they do propaganda for free? Do you know what they call free propaganda? They just call that shit you believe in. That's not a paid trip. That's just me. Maybe I'm just an Israeli shill, but it doesn't. If they don't have to pay me to say that, it's just stuff that I actually believe.
You know, there's something
What's he
that
basing
looks
this on?
super phony in a situation like
What's he
that.
basing
Would
this
you
on?
be okay with Lonerbox like hopping in the call to explain what he did, or is that too confrontational for you?
That's fine.
I don't know if Loner, if you're watching, yeah.
I'm
Where'd I go?
totally fine with that. But before he comes in, I want to clarify a couple of things because I think he's going to maybe clarify some other things that I spoke about. And I just want to make sure that
Keep in mind that while I'm there, and it's funny because there are some people, Israelis, who thought I was there to do an Israeli glaze trip. This guy thought I was. And then I went on his show because he's like, oh, you should come on my show. And
all the media.
based on our conversation on the show, I could definitely tell. I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to ask this guy the right questions, and he's going to fucking glaze up my country. Hell yes. Talk about how great Israel is.
Ultimately force it to leave Hamas on standing on its feet.
I have something called oppositional defiance disorder. If I feel like you're trying to make me glaze you, I'll hate you for no reason, okay? I just want you to know that, okay? The key to getting me to glaze you is to shit on the other side or something and then make me want to defend, whatever. Don't try to make me glaze you.
Because both sides demonize each other so much, both sides will spend so much time trying to exonerate their own side to kind of sometimes a ridiculous amount. We can get as razor focused or as macro as you want, but like on a very razor focused level, things relating to God, there's so many different examples. I guess the most recent thing I was kind of like reading into is like, for instance, like the Great March of Return. The peaceful Great March of Return was started off as like a peaceful idea for people to go to the wall.
Of border riots.
Yeah.
That pro-Israeli propaganda, the border riots, yes.
And like wave flags and like have parades and festivals, and then maybe there were a couple bad actors. That's the story that the pro-Palestinian side gives. And then on the
well, the story they give in English.
It's the story they give in English. Yeah, sure. Yeah. And then on the, obviously when you actually dig into the events, and not even dig, you just look at the videos posted, everything, you say, okay, well, this event was a lot more, even the idea, the concept of the Great March of Return, when you ask people what that means, a lot of people don't even know what that means. And the idea was, marching through the border wall and going back to, where your original villages were. And the hope was that other Palestinians from other refugee camps would join. And to call that event peaceful is a stretch, I think, even in the intention, let alone the fact that Hamas was active in the early days.
Well, you had Hamas's leaders standing among the crowds telling them you need to rip their hearts out of their chests, and they published maps pointing them how to get to the border communities. I mean, Israel was warning at the time.
Sure, yeah.
But the reason that it had to use gunfire
Preventative
against people
measures,
storming the border, right, was because of a potential massacre that could be the sort of thing we found out on October 7th.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but then also I'm sympathetic towards the Israeli side because the narrative on the Palestinian side is so much more popular online. But then I also noticed it true for like the Israeli side as well, that there seems to be issues with, and it's annoying because I go to bat sometimes probably for more the pro-Zionist side than the anti-Zionist side just because we argue with online. But every time a situation comes up,
If you're going to be a contrarian nowadays, being a contrarian means taking the Israelis.
Yeah, I guess but it'll be like, okay, well, this event just happened, a bunch of people died, we'll do an internal investigation, and then sometimes I feel like I never hear the results of that. Or if you look back and you see like, oh, okay, well, XYZ happened, or some amount of Palestinians were killed, and I think, I would love counterexamples, but when I dig back, I feel like no IDF soldier, no Israeli person has ever been held in prison for like more than, I think, 36 months for like an actual bad event, where they were convicted of, manslaughter or murder or killing of.
I don't believe a single IDF soldier has spent more than, I think it's 3 years in prison, a single one for any bad event they've ever been convicted of. God, I should have had this example offhand. I can't remember right now.